Awesome, Huss. The Nuggets are back in the 1 seed and in the driver's seat for good with 2 games remaining. Tonight, they defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves in what was considered probably the game of the year, probably the first playoff game of the year, and it lived up to the billing. It was an incredible game to watch. I enjoyed every moment of it. It was nail biting, jumping out of your seat type of game. It was fantastic. Nuggets are now 3 in a row, games without an accident, and they've improved to 56-24, which is pretty significant seeing as there are 2 games remaining. And we win both, which I expect us to do. And we now have a new Nuggets regular season record by 1 game. I believe the 2012-2013 with Danilo Gallinari, we went 57-25. So just kind of going to run through the game here. That was amazing. I felt it was all about how are we going to deal with Ant tonight. And we started with KCP on him. I thought he did really well. Ant's going to get his. The guy moves like a UFO and he's built like iron. He's going to get his. Jamal got switched off on him a few times, and I thought Jamal played really well on him. CB was the first bench guy to come in, and guard Ant, and I thought he did great. There's things you can improve on. However, Ant is going to be considered for the MVP in the future. I think the near future. The Minnesota Timberwolves got themselves a gem in that guy. He's a phenomenal basketball player. After 1 quarter, the game was tied 26-26. Now, this is where avid Nuggets fans know you hold your breath. Joker plays the first quarter, then he goes out. And we've also got Jamal Murray on a minute restriction. So neither one of them runs with the second group. And, we had a few careless turnovers to kind of end that first. And I'm thinking, we didn't even get ourselves a nice little cushion going into it. I thought, though, we did shoot the 3-ball well in the first quarter. However, going into the second quarter, I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, these are the moments. These are the moments that are going to determine who wins this game. This is going to determine if we're a 1 seed or a 3 seed. And we win the non-Nikola minutes 7-6, +1, massive. That first non-Nikola window, we come out and, I'm not expecting us to win it. I just want to minimize damage, and somehow we won it. Finally, Yoke comes back in with Murray, and it's kind of like flip-flopped. We had careless turnovers, bad offensive possessions, led to a Malone timeout, and I believe that was the first of the game from him. I mean, he was ticked. He's shaking his head. I mean, the guy was. If any of you have seen the movie In and Out, he was the angry guy. He was the red, I'm fuming guy, for sure. And then the turnovers continue right after the timeout. At the 5-minute mark, the 5-minute mark in the second quarter, we had 9 turnovers. And a lot of them were unforced. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight played phenomenal defense. I think that is one of the best, if not the best, defensive teams in the NBA. And when you're giving teams like that unforced turnovers, it's not going to go well for us. It's just not. And it didn't. It really didn't. We were kind of struggling to just keep pace for a while. And then Murray, huge, big 3 to stop the bleeding. I believe the Timberwolves went up by 7 or 8. You could tell that was the moment that Minnesota was looking to get a little bit of a cushion. Murray, massive 3. We got better on the boards. Murray, he buried that 3, and then he leads us back a little bit, but then the Wolves push the pace again, and it ends with Nuggets down 3 at half, 49-52. And, honestly, with how the turnovers were and how we were playing, I was okay with that score. Um, I thought it could have been 10 plus. I was kind of nervous because we were not playing well, very careless with the ball. One of the turnovers that really frustrated me was, ironically, it was a Reggie Jackson turnover, but I thought it was Nikola's fault. Jackson basically threw a Nikola type pass to him while the defense was asleep, and Nikola didn't see it. Nikola would have had a layup. And and Nikola knew that. I mean, he immediately acknowledged, like, oh, that's my bad. But it led us into the third, only down 3. Um, and Ant hits 2 back-to-back threes. Huge. And they were contested. They weren't wide open, just shooting around type threes. Buries them, and I'm thinking, oh goodness. But we get ourselves a nice little Murray flurry, and that helps us keep pace. And then a classic yoke to AG lob with a reverse dunk that ties the game. And another moment that a lot of people might think is luck, but when you're the defending champs and you're going for that 1 seed and you're in one of the craziest Western 1 seed races in recent time, you need this type of play to happen for you. And it was Reggie Jackson catching the ball. I think he released it with 0.1 left on the shot clock, buries a 3. And we ended up getting over the hump. That, to me, that was kind of what got us over the hump. We were trailing them by 2, 4, maybe we tie it. We just could not get over that hump and get ourselves in the driver's seat, but that really helped us. And we ended the third up by 3. And again, this is that moment. Joker goes out. These are the moments that will determine this season. And we somehow win the second non-Nikola window, 8-7. So we had a +2 on the night. I'm not counting the end. There was, like, I don't know, 30 seconds left when they took him out. I'm not counting the end. But I thought the things that did it were big shots by NBA players. Yes, you might be a bench guy, but you're an NBA player, and they made big shots. Defense was much more intense, and it was all about rebounding to me. We limited offensive rebounds tonight, and I mean, that's huge. That's huge, especially against a team like that. And granted, they don't have Cat. You throw Cat in there, and that's a whole nother wrinkle. But I really, tonight, those non-Nikola minutes were everything for me. They just were. And then I thought another big moment, CB with a massive dunk and 1. That kid can jump out of the gym, and he is fearless. And I don't know. I love that guy. He's everything you want coming off the bench, I think, Yeah, CB with that massive dunk. And I mean, CB and Peyton Watson tonight were phenomenal. You look at the stats. Peyton Watson only had 3 points. However, he was a +4, 6 blocks, 6, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 23 minutes. The guy, and he was an absolute nuisance on defense. I mean, he altered shots. Amazing defense on that call that we challenged, and it got reversed in our favor. I mean, the guy is becoming exactly what we need going into these playoffs. And Christian Brown, solid, +9, 8 points, 5 rebounds. He had a steal, he had a block. Just phenomenal. When you look at, talking about the whole turnovers, we had 9 before even halftime. I think there was 5 minutes left in the second quarter, and we only ended with 14. So in that last, 29 minutes, we only had 5 turnovers, and that really, really helped us turn this game around. Um, but yeah, those dunks by Peyton and CB, wow. I mean, CB goes up, and I'm thinking, oh man, he's going to challenge Gobert, and he switches to his weaker hand and just posterizes the guy. The probably will be defensive player of the year in the biggest game of the year. And then that was when we really started to make this run and get that space to where we can be like, no, this game's done. And then Peyton Watson, we get the steal. I think Jamal throws it out to Peyton, and Peyton is in space, and he gives us what we all want, and that is a behind your head tomahawk. It's just monster dunk. Incredible to watch. Incredible. So the Nuggets, we end the game 116 to 107, get the dub. Everybody's happy. And I'm thinking regular season's not over. And I asked myself 3 questions, and we're gonna run through these questions. And I want everyone, if you in the comments on YouTube, wherever, I want people to answer these questions with me. Going into this game, I needed to know, can we win big games with non-Nikola minutes? Obviously, he's never going to play 48 minutes, but that has been the talk since even before we won the title. And tonight was huge. Tonight gave me some faith. And granted, I think Nikola played more than he probably normally does in, say, a game back in December or January. But I mean, they they didn't lose the game. We didn't win the game with non-Nikola minutes. We were +2, but we didn't lose the game. And that's all I really need from the non-Nikola minutes and the personnel that are out there. So to me, we showed tonight we can. But it needs to be more. I mean, it needs to be more consistent, and we need to continue this trend. The second question is: the free throw line going to become an issue going into the playoffs? I say yes. If we do not figure out to get our free throw percentage above 70, I would prefer 80. It's going to be an issue. I think we shot in the 40s last game. Tonight we shot 56%. Luckily, the Wolves also shot in the 50s. Big moments, free throws stop bleeding. And it's concerning from these last 2 games. And I think it's something that we need to work on for the last 2 regular season games going into the playoffs. My third question: will we cement the 1 seed by beating the bottom two table teams in the Grizz and the Spurs on the road? And the reason I ask this, and this is obvious, because everyone tonight is probably thinking, oh, yes, home court advantage. We got it. We don't. Not yet. We got 2 big road games. And yes, they are against teams that are, currently planning their summer vacations already. However, I see this as, and I'm going to, for all you millennials out there, N64 Mario Kart. You see a banana peel in the road, and you see it a ways away. And you're like, I'm not going to hit that. I'm not going to hit that. Closer it gets. I'm not going to hit that. You got to work to get around that banana peel. Okay. We cannot sit there and think, oh, it'll be all right. We'll get around it. No, we got to work these last 2 games to take the opportunity to continue to improve. One of them goes back to that second question: free throws. I think for the majority of the game until the end, Nikola was the only one who even got to the line. So a lot of this, you could say, is on Nikola. But he only missed 5. There was 5 other misses. And hey, I just don't want it to be, I don't want this night to go, I don't want it to be in vain. I don't want us to think, oh man, we had the one seed in our hand and then we lose somehow in Memphis, or Wemby has a 50-point night. I don't want that. I think we need to treat these last two games the same way we treated tonight. And that means if you're available, you play. I think if there are questions of health, you sit them. That's important as well. I'm not saying push anyone. I think Murray should stay on the minute restriction for the last two games. However, if he's available and he thinks he can do the minute restriction, and same with the physios, he needs to play. Aaron Gordon kind of had a rough night, but he did have 9 assists, and a lot of people think, oh, 5 points isn't good enough. And maybe it's not. But defensively, he's still there. We need his presence. He is going to be the big centerpiece around that non-Nikola time, especially in the playoffs. So, yeah, I want to know what everyone thinks in the comments. Those 3 questions. And, I hope Leo and April had a fantastic time tonight. He sent me a bunch of videos. It looked really fun. And I'm gonna give his thoughts real quick on the game. He just sent them to me. We are successful when Joker touches the ball. When he does it, we are literally, according to math, the Hornets. And I don't know about you guys, but I do not want to be the Charlotte Hornets. That is a terrible team. They have nearly no history in my lifetime, and I don't want to be them. One player played above average. The rest played averaged. He's worried about Cat coming back, and that's another thing we need to talk about. This is, assuming we do get to the Western Conference Finals in the 1 seed position. We're on a collision course with that team in a grueling 7-game series. I mean, that if you watch that game tonight, can you imagine that 7 times? That is like 2 heavyweights in a boxing ring going, 20, 25 rounds, just throwing haymakers. And we need to be healthy for that. For us to win that in a 7-game series, we need to be healthy. And I guarantee that the Timberwolves are saying the exact same thing. They need to be healthy. And Cat coming back, don't know what he's going to look like. Don't know if he'll be on a minute restriction. However, he will improve that team. Now, will he make up that 9-point difference that they lost tonight? I don't know. I hope not. If Murray continues to improve and he's not on a minute restriction, that also improves us. I think we need to take tonight with a little bit of grain of salt. Take tonight with a grain of salt. I think that going forward, we cannot think about the 1 seeds locked up. We cannot look forward to the Western Conference Finals. Leave that up to people like me. I hope that this team is focused on the next game, and that's the Spurs on Friday. That's the next biggest game of the season. Treat every game from here on out as the biggest game of the season. But yeah, I wanted to quickly shout out Leo and April. That looked like one of the funnest games to be at this year. And yeah, everyone, please do not forget to show some hus. Go Nuggets.